right, welcome to another episode of the Thundercast. And again, I'm without KD. This is going to be a little different than our regular Thundercast episodes, not just because it's a standalone preview for men's basketball, and we're going to have Coach Cornelius Jackson at the end of this episode, but it's different because it's just me speaking. It's not going to have that same dynamic, but we're going to do the best that we can to give you a glimpse into the Marshall men's basketball season. We're going to start with a roster breakdown, then we're going to talk about the schedule a little bit, and then we're going to have Coach Jackson on here answering some of these questions that we may have on this year's team. But first, I have to give a shout out to 304carwreck.com, Leasure Oliver PLLC. That's where you can find them. And if you are in Kentucky, Ohio, or West Virginia, not just the tri-state area, but any part of those three states, you can go to their website and have them help you if you are ever injured in a wreck. If you've been hurt in a wreck, call the law firm of Leasure Oliver PLLC. Find them at 304carwreck.com. All right, let's get into this roster breakdown. We're going to start with the departed players, and there are a lot of them. We lost Cam Kerfman, graduated. Kevon Voiles, graduated. Marko Saric, graduated. And Goran Miladinovich, graduated. We also had a bunch of people hit the transfer portal. That is Chase McKee, who ended up at Western Carolina. Jacob Connor ended up at Dayton. Cam Crawford is now at Duquesne. Pete Moe II transferred to Barry University. And then we also had a couple that transferred out, but they are either not listed as on a team yet, or maybe they're taking a year off as they transfer out. But that is Kyle Braun and Emerick Toussaint. So lots of players. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Nearly an entire roster will not be on the team. So this is truly a new look. What kind of stats do we need to replace from those players? We have 47.5 points per game, 18.1 rebounds per game, and 9.8 assists. And with that, a huge part of our three-point game in Cam Kerfman. If you remember, he was way high up on the list for career attempts and career makes as a three-point shooter in NCAA. Who do we have returning? Well, we got a couple down in the post that have already made some noise in the Sun Belt Conference preseason player conference teams. Got Obina and Achille Killen, 6'8", 220 pounds, forward, and he is a graduate senior. Nate Martin, 6'8", 235, forward, and he is a senior. And then Wyatt Fricks, 6'10", 205, forward, redshirt junior. And then a couple of guards here. We got Ryan Nutter, 6'4", 189-pound guard. It's a sophomore. Kyson Pruitt, 6'4", 184, sophomore guard. And last but not least, Creighton Thieneman, 6'5", 195 guard, and he is a redshirt junior. Returning, those players combined for 36.3 points a game last year, 23.2 rebounds last year, so more rebounds returning than we lost, and that's because of the post play of Obina and Nate, and 6.5 assists. So we've got a little bit of a base to work with, but what we're really looking at is what we brought in. You're going to hear Coach Jackson later when we're doing the interview talk about some of these players, but let's get to it because there are a lot. We have Dzane Mingo, 6'4", 185-pound guard. He's a junior, and he transferred in from Guelph. Jacob Gibbs, 6'5", 208, forward, is a senior, and he came from Grace College, as did his twin brother, Cade Gibbs, 6'6", 222, forward, senior, and also, of course, from Grace College. Then we have Kai Spears, who came to us from Alabama, 6'3", 164-pound guard. He's a redshirt sophomore. Hometown hero, as you will hear later on in this episode when Cornelius Jackson talks about him. Michael Dawson, right here in Huntington, 6'5", 222-pound guard. He's a graduate transfer from Akron. Then you have another guard, Jalen Spears, 6'1", 182 pounds. He comes to us from Florida A&M, also as a graduate transfer. Caden White, 6'3", 180. He is a freshman guard from Olympia High School. Eric Harding, 6'10", 222-pound forward, also a freshman from Combine Academy. The athletic Will Moore, 6'4", 188-pound guard. He is also a freshman, and he comes to us from West Forsyth High School. And then one other transfer, Grant Moore, Will's brother, if I'm not mistaken, 6'6", 190-pound guard, redshirt sophomore, and he transferred in from Columbus State. So a lot left, but we brought in a lot, as you can tell by that list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 depart, 10 leave. 10 come in. So what does this roster look like? It looks like replacing your three-point shooter is going to be tough when you're talking about an NCAA all-timer. But it also looks like we got taller. We got a little bit more physical. And it looks like that we may have gotten more true guards, I will say, instead of 5'10", 5'11", 6 foot, whatever we were looking at as a 3-point specialist, but he more, instead of bringing the ball down the court, Kerfman was on the wing as more of a shooting guard, kind of undersized a little bit. Now you're looking at Mike Dawson, 6'5", Dzane Mingo, 6'4", Kai Spears, 6'3", Caden White, 6'3", Will Moore, 6'4". It looks like we brought in some height, some athleticism, and I know that is appealing to some people as we have discussed last year's team into this year's team. Let's switch over and talk about the schedule a little bit. I am not going to run down each and every game, but I will tell you some of the quirks that we have with our scheduling. And 1, 2, 3, 4 games that we will play at home before we have a road game. And then we have 8 home games, 5 away games for our out-of-conference schedule. So we are going to be playing a lot of basketball early in the camp. When we go to the conference schedule, we start out at Southern Miss on 12/21, but then our next 4 games, again, are at home in the camp. So that means 12 out of our first 18 games will start at home, and I feel like that will help us maybe get an advantage going into this conference schedule, that we're going to start out more home heavy. You don't have as many travel games and things like that. It will help us maybe get in a rhythm and develop the team to gel with each other. Overall, we have 17 home games and we have 14 away games, 31 games on the season. But again, 17 home games. And let's talk about tickets with those. $375. You're going to hear me say this later with Cornelius Jackson with the interview. $375 for lower bowl reserve seating. It breaks down to $22 a game. I think regular prices are $40, and you would be saving nearly half to get season tickets. If you go to half of our games, you might as well get season tickets. We talk later about the crowd and what it means to the team, so I'll save that for you hearing that from Coach Jackson himself. All right, the other tickets, if you set in the upper bowl, is $200. Again, 17 games. You're looking at right around $11. So huge savings if you get season tickets, and we at the Thundercast are encouraging you to do so. All right, some big questions. These are some questions that I have, and just like with the women's basketball preview, I'm not going to really answer them. I'm asking them, so maybe you would want to chime in and give your answers either on social media or give us a comment below if you are watching on YouTube. And if you hear something that you think you have a good answer for, love to hear it, see what your opinion is. Number one, what will the team's identity be? Last year, 41% of our field goal attempts came from behind the arc, but we're losing Cam Kerfman. And also, Nate Martin was tied for the lead in team assists. He had 2.8 per game, as did the departing Jacob Connor. So right now, the assist leader coming into this season is power forward Nate Martin. So what will this team's identity be? Number two, will the shortcomings of the previous system we said rebounding, the team struggled when shooting was cold, especially from beyond the arc when you're shooting 41% of them are threes, and at times defense a lot. Will that be turned around with any tweaks? I don't have an answer for that, but I asked Coach Jackson a lot about that, and he had some good answers. So, again, previewing what he's going to say here in just a few minutes on what tweaks that he may do to this system to make this fit this season's team a lot better. Number three, how long will it take for the players to gel as a team? Will that opening homestand really help? We hope so. Number four, who takes the final shot with the game on the line? You know, a couple of years ago, it was almost a given that it was going to be Tavion Kinsey or Andy Taylor. And then last year, if you had to have a three, it was going to be Cam Kerfman. So who is going to be that player that comes out and is the usual go-to guy to take that final shot this year? And last but not least, number five, where will this team end up after the first season of Coach Cornelius Jackson? And that is what pretty much everyone is kind of worried about is, and I don't mean worry as in a concern. I mean, that's what they are the most interested to see is where will we be? What will our record be? Where will we go as far as the regular season and the postseason? You know, where will we end up? Before I bring on Coach Jackson, I do want to give my official prediction. KD may weigh in with his on social media when he's back and available. But I am going with an overall prediction of 18-13 with a conference record of 9-9. I feel like we have a lot of pieces to replace and a lot of new players in. It could go either way. They could come in and be a drastic improvement over what we had last year, or it could take them a while to learn how to play together, and it may take a year or two for Coach Jackson to get more players in that would fit his style and play together and be under his tutelage. So that's where I'm going with 18-13 and 9-9 in conference. Hoping to see them make a dent in the postseason tournament, SBC championship tournament, and I mean, wouldn't we all love to see them win it all? But I think winning a game or two would go a long way in this first year with all that you had to replace with the transfers and the graduations. All right, with that, you have set through what I think is an awkward, just one person talking, not having KD to bounce stuff off. And really, I'm the guy that he leads the show and I'm just the sidekick. And now here I am giving the basketball preview. So different kind of episode, but it's about to get a lot better because right now, after the break, we have Coach Cornelius Jackson. All right. As promised, we have Coach Cornelius Jackson here with us as part of this men's basketball preview for Marshall. Coach, welcome to the show. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule before the season kicks off here or I should say tips off, I guess, on Monday. And thank you for taking time out and being here on the show.
Thanks for having me. It's an honor to get on and talk Marshall basketball. Obviously, with this new position is something that I hold dear to my heart and I don't take lightly. So anytime I can get on and talk and promote our program, it's always a pleasure. It's always an honor.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you very much. I know the fans are going to love hearing from you and kind of getting a little bit of a behind the curtain sneak peek before Monday of what we might be looking at. You've been in this program for a while. You've been here for a while, but how was your first several months of actually leading this program maybe matched up with the expectations you had?
The first several months has been awesome. You know, it's been a really incredible short journey thus far. A lot of multitasking, but the opportunity to help develop young men on and off the court through the game of basketball has been really amazing.
Good. You've been in this system now for several years. Any tweaks that you might be making or anything to kind of take Coach D'Antoni's style and fit it more into your style, or will it look a lot like what we've seen the last few years?
We still want to play up tempo. We still want to play up tempo with a free flowing offensive style that includes getting up and down in transition, a lot of ball movement as well as pick and roll actions. We also want to create scoring opportunities from our defense. You know, I think if you look at it and say, okay, the biggest tweak is probably going to be defensively. You know, since I've been here, we've played several different styles defensively. Last year, we switched everything. In previous years, we called it downing. Some people call it icing, side ball screens. This year, we want to go back more to that, the more traditional downing ball screens, trapping corners, using our defense kind of create some scoring opportunities. But offensively, it'll look a lot similar to what we've done in the past.
Okay, so just a quick follow-up on this, and this is some stats. I'm sure you've got way more analytics and stuff than I have access to, but last year, 41% of our field goal attempts were from behind the arc. Is this still going to be a three-heavy offense due to the analytics that Coach D'Antoni has talked about at length in the past? Or is it going to be modified from that, and we might not shoot as many?
Well, last year, in my opinion, we had one of the best 3-point shooters in the country in Cam Kirkman.
Absolutely, yeah.
He probably, I'm not sure how many he took a game himself, but I'm sure it was high because
it was.
Yeah, he was a really good shooter. I just want our guys to take the best available shot.
Okay.
If it's a three, it's a three. If it's a dunk, if it's a lob, I want them to share the ball, play for one another, and then take the best available shot that Marshall can get.
Awesome. Also, returning player Nate Martin was tied for the team lead as a power forward last year, tied for the team lead in assists with 2.8 per game. With a new roster coming in and everything, and some tweaks that you've talked about, do you feel that we will have a more traditional point guard, maybe making everyone get involved in this and having a higher assist total than what we had last year?
Well, when you play a free-flowing offense, you know, everyone pretty much handles the ball. That's why it's really important for me to have skilled guys. Nate is obviously skilled, and he's really progressed his offensive game in terms of scoring, but his passing and decision making, obviously last year we're on a high level. So what's important again is skill guys. I believe and I trust everyone on the team to handle, to dribble, pass, and shoot. I really do. If I didn't, we wouldn't recruit. We would recruit guys. So again, we recruit guys that kind of fit our system. We played through Nate a lot last year in what we call delay action. You will probably see some of that this year because again, we try to play to our strengths, and that's one of our strengths. But we have several other guys that can handle the ball and make really good decisions. So we look forward to playing a free flowing style that everybody has a hand on it. Again, once you get your hand on the ball, now it's up to you to make the right decision.
Ultimately, stats do not matter if you're playing the style that you want and you're getting the success you want on the court. So, certainly not trying to say we have to have somebody with more than 2.8. Just wondering if Nate was going to be as involved or if it was going to be, a true point guard leading. But you answered exactly what I was looking for.
Yeah, we brought in, guards. Ryan Nutter was here last year, but Jalen Spears here, DeZane is here. You have several guys that can play the guard position. But again, I couldn't. It's not going to be one of those things where I'm going to say, okay, DeZane, you need to get 4 assists.
Sure,
Jalen, you need to average 5 assists. It's kind of okay, free flowing offense. If you come off and you see the roll guy, hit the roll guy. If you see the back, hit the back. If you see the lob, if you see Will or Wyatt, whoever coming out of the corner, then you make that pass. So I can't really script on how that's going to look like. Again, I trust all of these guys that they'll make good decisions. And at the end, when we look at the totals, we'll see who's leading. My big thing is I'm more important with having several guys on the positive than in the negative. If you look at normally, if you look at successful teams, they have several guys with way more assists than they do turnovers. So I'm more concerned about that versus who has 4, who has 5, who has the number wise in that sense.
Great way to look at it. All these players that we do have returning, is there anyone that has stood out that looks like they've taken that next leap forward or is poised to do so this year?
Like I said, Nate has really progressed his offensive game. He had some limitations when he first got here, and he's worked his tail off in the gym. He and Ryan Taylor spent a lot of time together in the gym, so I'm impressed with what I see out of Nate offensively. We know he's a tough young man. He's going to go to the glass. He's going to play hard. But seeing him add to his offensive game and him kind of seeing the success of the work he's put in has really been awesome to see. Wyatt Fricks, I'm really impressed with his shooting. And again, it's early, but I'm impressed with his shooting as well as his decision making. So I'm super excited to really see the growth throughout the season from those two guys. If you were to ask me, okay, who's standing out? We have a lot of guys playing well, but those two guys come to mind when you ask that question.
Yeah. We also brought somebody in that is familiar to a lot of Herd fans, and that's Michael Dawson coming over a transfer from Akron, but from right here in Huntington. He transferred in. He's here, this is his first year, but he's been named a captain. So what does this hometown player bring to the locker room and bring to this team?
Well, our guys have coined Mike Dawson the hometown hero. So whenever Mike's name is called, like at Hoops in Huntington or the other night, the exhibition game, I can hear several guys saying hometown hero. So, but it's been fun. Mike is a great addition to our program. I'm really impressed. And Mike, I've been around, so I've known Mike, but I didn't know of his work ethic. I didn't know of his maturity then. I'm super impressed with those things. Mike he's a mature young man. His work ethic is off the charts. He comes from winning. He brings a leadership and a toughness. So we're really excited to have Mike back at home.
Yeah, I think a lot of fans are too. I've spoken to some people that were familiar up at Huntington High School with him and just talked about his maturity and what a great man he was even in high school. So and it's always fun to root for, someone that's local and things like that. So what about the freshman recruits that you have coming in? Do any of those in your mind look to have an impact this year, or is this something that maybe we're looking a year or two down the road?
We have some really talented freshmen, in my opinion. Right now, as freshmen, and several freshmen across the country, not just the 3 freshmen we brought in. They're still trying to figure it out, what it takes to be successful at this level, day in and day out. But if you ask me the impact that they're having, that I can see they're getting better. They come in and they work, and they're fitting in. But again, the pace is a little different than probably what they're used to. I am impressed, and I am happy with their growth and development up into the, to this point. You asked about their impact. That's yet to be determined. It's a long season. I hope all 3 of them have huge impacts in impact winning. But right now, again, they're still trying to figure out what it takes to be successful. They're doing some really good things, but in terms of impact, that's yet to be determined.
You mentioned successful. I mentioned success earlier. It kind of goes right into my next question. In year 1, what does success look like for the first year of Coach Cornelius Jackson era of Marshall basketball?
Well, success can be measured in several different ways, right? Several different areas. Some people say winning. Some people say what does your player development looks like? What is your recruiting looks like? What does the culture look like? So it can be measured in several different ways. Success in year 1 for me probably would be laying the groundwork for future seasons, establishing a culture of success on and off the court. I'm a firm believer that if you build great habits on and off the court, success will follow. And with those success, now you talk about winning games. You bring in the right players. You talk about winning games, and then you talk about winning championships. So again, year 1, laying the groundwork. I want these guys to play for one another, establish a culture of success on and off the court. We want to be champions, not just in the CAM, but we want to be champions in the community. We want to be champions in life. So that's, again, success for year 1. And a short answer would be that for me. Now winning games obviously is going to be really important. But if we stay focused on the process and stay focused on our habits, I truly believe that winning games and winning championships will come.
You mentioned the CAM, and that again flows right into my next question. The CAM is something you're extremely familiar with. Playing here as a player and being here on the sidelines as coach, and now leading the program. How important is it for fans to pack the CAM and create an environment that is loud and energetic for your team?
Well, Herd fans are probably already tired of me talking about the huge impact that they make. That really, I've been here how many years now? It's my 8th season, and I played here, and I hosted. When I was a player, I hosted it. I don't know if you know this, but I hosted every recruit that came. Every recruit during my time at Marshall, I was their student host to recruit them, to get them to come to Marshall. Everyone's, the Tamars, the JRs, all those guys. And I always led with the fans. Always led with the fans. I still do. Whenever I talk to recruits, I always lead off with the fans. Everyone has buildings. Everyone has a 10-foot goal. Everyone has a 90-foot, feet court. Everyone has the rec center. But not everyone has a passionate fan base. So I always lead off with the fans. I think they're a huge impact on what we try to do here in men's basketball. I think it's invaluable to have their support at the CAM. Again, I'm speaking as a coach now, but as a player 20 years ago. And that environment really creates. I'll give you an example. I wasn't a great athlete. Now I can get up and dunk. Don't get me wrong, but I wasn't a great athlete when I played. But when you come out in front of a packed house and your adrenaline's flowing and the fans are energetic, I was in warm-ups when I played here. I was dunking backwards. And if you ask me, could I dunk backwards, you'll probably only see that during that time. You can take the fans out, and I could barely dunk two-handed. but with the fans, they're all dunking backwards. So it's invaluable, man. The environment that they create, the passion, and that they create. Our guys feel it. They appreciate it. I know that. But not only does the current players feel it. You know, we have a young man coming in, a student athlete coming in this weekend, and you know, we'll be at the football games and we'll walk through the tailgates, and that's impressive. That's impressive to student athletes and parents when we have upbeat, energetic fans that's engaging with them. So the impact that our fans have, again, I can go on and on and on and on and on, can make a huge difference. You know, a lot of people may take that for granted, but fan engagement, not just at the games, but in the community and on the internet. And I'm telling you, it makes a huge impact. You'll be surprised how many parents I have, you know, reach out to me, or we'll bring them in on a visit and say, look, man, the green, we're super excited, and we're super excited to come to a game. So the fan, it is huge. The impact that they have on us, this community, this university, is huge.
You know, I wrote an article on our website, ThunderCast.Online, and it was about the most exciting games ever at the CAM, and a lot of them revolved around, everyone's answers were about how loud the crowd was. The crowd was such a big part of it, because, you know, you can have a 91-89 victory on a last second shot, and if there's 15 people there, it just doesn't feel the same. Right. And one that stands out to me, and it was in this article, was February 23, when Georgia Southern is up like 9-10 points with a minute to go. And, you know, you can 900 times out of 1,000, you're not going to win that game. And the crowd, it just kept going and going and going and getting up. And it felt like we were a part of the team winning that game. Now, I didn't make a shot. I didn't get any steals, but I felt like my cheering helped.
Right.
And that's what I want everyone that's watching and listening to this to understand, that you can be a part of this without stepping foot on the court.
Right. And the impact, like, again, it's one of those things, right? They say you're like the 5 most people you spend the most time with.
Mm-hmm.
So when you come to the CAM and it's loud and people are cheering and they're positive, if you're doing anything other than that, then you stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
So again, positivity and energy, positive energy spreads, negativity and negative energy spreads. So just like you said, you know, your energy, you felt helped us win that game.
I did. I was part of it. I helped win, man.
And it was. Yeah. You know, I want you. I really want you to feel that. Like, I want you to own that.
Yeah.
You know, own that, because it's really important. It's really important. Unfortunately, I wasn't at that game. I was in the hospital. It's crazy, right?
I didn't know that.
Yes. So I was watching from a hospital bed, and the nurse, when we came back and won, it was late, obviously, and I was screaming. They thought something was wrong with me. They came in, I had pulled my, you know, they had the IV in me, and I had pulled my IV out. I was going crazy. They thought something was wrong for me. Then the guys called me from the locker room. I was almost brought to tears when I saw that. And again, I know that the fans definitely made a difference, because you give the guys that extra gear, that extra fight. You give them that extra fight, and I was really happy to see that we pulled that one off.
I did not know that. What a story! What a game to be watching while you're in a hospital, hooked up to a monitor. You know, bells going off. They're calling codes. That's
right.
Great. So fans listening at home, watching at home, you hear what we're talking about here. $375 for lower bowl reserve seating, 17 games. It's only $22 a game.
Right.
That is, if you go to a game without season tickets, I think it's $40 or something for a lower bowl seat. So you're almost 50%, buying season tickets. So, there's going to be 17 home games this year. Nine, I think it's 9 out of conference and 9 conference games. And if you want to sit not in the lower bowl, it's only $200. So it's,
Right.
$11 and something a game. Huge savings. So I urge everybody to listen, just as I did when we did the women's basketball preview. Get season tickets, get out and support the team. They're going to love it. You're going to love it. It's hard anymore to go $22 to go to the movies, and you're going to go here and support martial athletes and take in a great game. So that's for me. You can say anything you want about that to the fans to encourage them, but from me at the ThunderCast and on behalf of KD, who can't be here, we are telling you, you want to get season tickets and be there and be loud, be a part of it. Just like I had that great story that I can now tell, and that wasn't the only game that just stands out. But you go to all these games and you feel like you're a part of it and you help the team. That to me is invaluable, which you have used that word a couple of times. I'm going to use it now to describe being there and walking home saying, man, am I glad that I was at that game?
Yeah, let's again, if I had a couple things to say to the fans, again, I keep using the word invaluable. You guys are invaluable to our success and what we do here. I know our guys appreciate it. I know I appreciate it when you guys show up and you're loud and you're cheering and you're helping these guys push through a little fatigue, maybe to make a winning play. It's super important. It's really, really, really important to have that. I challenge. I did an alumni call, and I challenged our guys. We had what 36, 37 guys on the alumni call 2 weeks ago, and I just kind of laid down the foundation, the expectations of what we're trying to build with our alumni. And getting those guys back for the for games and the alumni weekend that we have. I said, look, we're telling you guys now, there's no excuse. Go ahead and make your plans. Show up, support these guys, because again, it speaks volumes not only to the fans, but also it speaks to our current players, our current recruits. The alumni base that we're trying to build, the networking base that we're trying to build. And how do you do that? You usually do it through fan engagements. Because you get the right student athletes want to come play. I feel like we have the right student athletes in our locker room that are easy to cheer for. These guys work their tails off on and off the court. They're great young men. And they really, really appreciate you guys when you come and you show up and you support them and you're loud and making that difference.
All right. So to wrap this up, I always ask, and it's the same question for everybody, but a stupid question. We've had all the basketball talk. We've talked analytics. Now let's talk what truly matters. I used to have a kitchen here inside the Union Pub and Grill, and I took on the menu, named different food items after martial athletes or martial coaches or people famous here in Huntington. So if that were revived right now, I need you to tell me what the Cornelius Jackson would be to make it on the menu.
The Cornelius Jackson would be a king crab bowl. Yeah, I love king crab. Yeah, so it'd be king crab bowl with shrimp, king crab and shrimp.
Now I say this to everybody, but I'd eat it because I'd eat anything. I'm a foodie and all that, but no, I like to ask these questions because it gives just the fans a little bit of connection, glimpse, and stuff like that. So you never know. You might be walking down the street, and somebody comes up now with some king crab leg to give to you.
These guys are my players and coaches. They all make fun of me. I have some different food. I put ketchup on spaghetti.
I won't eat that. I'm sorry.
I put ketchup on spaghetti, and I also put when I was in school here, we used to go to Fazoli's, and I would bring my own ketchup from home, and I would bring a sandwich cheese, like the American cheese. I also put that on ketchup on spaghetti. So I'm a big ketchup guy. I put grape jelly on a lot of things as well. So, but they make fun of me every time we're on the road. Our guys always, the players, they'll pass down the bottles of ketchup. So I have like 12 ketchup sitting at the table.
Now, when you were going into Fazoli's, was it just a packet, or were you taking like a Heinz bottle with you?
I was taking the bottle.
Oh my gosh!
I was taking the bottle. I have to admit, I was taking the bottle.
Now listen, KD and I used to live diagonally across from Fazoli's, and we were here in school while you were here playing. Okay. So I just have to tell you, I probably would have went up to you and put my hand, and it would have been like the Michael Jordan. It's like, stop, you know?
Right. Yeah, I would take
help.
I would take my cheese and my ketchup, man. And it was awesome, man. It was awesome times. I still do that. My wife, she makes fun of me all the time, and about my ketchup and my mustard. I mean, my jelly and my weird eating habits.
Yeah, I can't begrudge anybody on what they eat and how they eat it, because. Well, anyway, thank you so much. That wraps up this interview. Thanks for sharing with us, sharing with the fans, a little bit of glimpse into what this season might look like, and more into Cornelius Jackson. Do you have any final words before I take us out of here?
No, I really appreciate you having me on. We're looking forward to an exciting season. Again, these guys are working. They're doing everything that we've asked. We want to continue to build champions, not just on the court, but off the court as well. That's really important to us. We hope that the fans get out and continue to support these young men, support this program. If nothing else, you have 2 West Virginians on your team, myself and Mike Dawson. You have Rob Forford, who's from Mullins. You have Adam Williams, who's from St. Albans. Mark Klein from Williamson. So we have a lot of West Virginia flavor on this on this roster in this program. So we know that West Virginians usually stick with West Virginians a lot and support each other. So come support us. Come support this program. Cheer, be loud. Our guys appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you on Monday and Toledo and the rest of the home games this year in the camp.
Yeah, and with that, I'm going to take us out and say, whether you see us at the Vet, whether you see us at the Joan, or whether you see us at the Cam, bringing some Heinz ketchup for Cornelius Jackson, no matter where you see us, we're going to be saying, go Herd. It's a
Go Herd. Go Herd.
See you later.